All right, this continues section through 4.3, and we're doing the multiplication property of equality to solve algebraic equations now. So we're going to review the same properties with multiplication that we had for addition. They're going to look slightly different because these are for multiplication. So first off, our inverse property, our second one listed here. Anything times its reciprocal, right, its inverse, is always going to give us 1. When we're talking about multiplication, 1 is a magic number in algebra or in math because 1 times anything is the number itself. So we don't have to write that 1, in other words, just like with the 0. And then finally, the multiplication property of equality says that if I have some equation, A equals B, then A times C is the same as equal to B times C, that those are equivalent equations. In other words, what I do to the left side with multiplication, I do to the right side of the equation, I'm going to end up with equivalent equations. Just like with addition, but now it's being used for multiplication. This property is really just undoing multiplication. So let's see with a couple of examples here how this works. So our first example up here, we know that we could solve this problem. 4x equals 24 because we know our multiplication facts, right? What times 4 is equal to 24? Oh, well, everybody can say, duh, it's 6. But remember, the thing that we need to know is how could we do that even when our multiplication facts fail us? So example 20 here is how we're going to figure that out, because we may not know the answers to number 20. So what we're going to use first of all is the fact that we need to get rid of this number, excuse me, pardon me, that we need to get rid of this number that's being multiplied by the variable, because we need that variable to say x equals whatever number. And right now it says 16x's equal this number, so we just need the x to stand alone. So we need to get rid of this. We need to make it magically disappear. And magically making it disappear happens with the inverse. And when we multiply a number by its inverse, we will get that magic number 1. And that magic number 1 in multiplying in math gives us just the thing back. So what I do to the left side, I also must do to the right side. Now, one of the things that you need to remember is that multiplication by a reciprocal is the same thing as division. So when I say 48 times 1/16, another way of writing this is 48 divided by 16, because multiplication by a reciprocal is the same as division. And then once we see that, you see another way of looking at this is 48 over 1 times 1 over 16. And this, remember, is going to call back into play, oh, that we can do canceling. Well, 4 goes into this one, and 4 goes into this one, and then I can go, oh, 12 divided by 4, well, that's 3. And so even when I don't have a division problem that I'm really aware of, I can use my canceling skills from fractions in order to get those answers a little bit more easily. Now this part B, we have to remember that in this part B, another way of saying this is the 1 up here multiplied by the x, and remember the numerator and denominator number form my numeric coefficient. So I have 1/3 multiplied by x, and that's equal to my 36. And so I want to multiply by the reciprocal of this 1/3 to make it magically disappear. So the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3. What I do to the left, I do to the right. And now I see that my x is equal to, and then it's 36 times 3. 3 times 6 is 18, carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. And now we see that x is equal to 108. So that's using our multiplication property of equality. And of course we can check these the same way as before. I'll show the check on this part B. So my check over here says put in x, so I say x is 108 divided by 3, and I'm asking, is that equal to 36? And we can see 3 goes into 10 3 times with 1 left over, and 3 will go into 1836. And so 36 equals 36, and this really does form a check. That is the answer. We could do the same thing here. Of course, it's really silly in that first one because it's just multiplying, right? This one we actually had to do a little division and make a little work. So now the next thing that we're going to do in our next video is to learn how to find the solution by graphing.